What's going on, guys? Ultimate Battles here, and Ready or Not 2 just dropped, so I want to do a video about it. This movie, I was pretty excited for it for the most part. I really enjoyed the first Ready or Not. I thought it was like super original, and I loved it, man. I thought it was fucking great. A lot of the shots in that movie were great. Just the whole like suspense in that movie was crazy as well. There's just a lot of great set pieces, obviously, in the first one, but overall, I feel like the first story, what made it so good was that it was just kind of felt simple. The whole first movie basically takes place in this huge mansion the whole time, and just there's so many funny moments and memorable moments from that movie. So I was really looking forward to part two. And guys, all I gotta say is this: Radio Silence does not fucking miss, bro. All right, like this movie was awesome. We're talking about just great acting, just a great story, and I had basically avoided all the trailers before watching this movie. I didn't want to know anything about it, and I feel like it made it better for me. So I had no idea what it was gonna be about. So just kind of the general plot of it basically is that it literally takes place right after the first movie. Like literally, we get that shot of Samantha Weaving, which by the way, she's fucking incredible in this movie. Just wow, like I say this a lot, but when somebody's the heart and soul of the movie, you really feel it. Like she's really the heart and soul of this movie yet again. Like her performance is so well done, and I just love her character, man, in this fucking movie. I feel like she's way more fleshed out, and we kind of get more lore between her and her sister. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, basically it takes place after the first movie, right? And then she's taken to the hospital, and then she wakes up. You have this like detective interviewing her because they kind of found like the whole situation at the house from the first movie, which I mean, from the outside perspective, it kind of makes sense. Like damn, like she basically looks like she blew up the house and killed everybody in it. So I guess it makes sense in a way that they want to kind of like arrest her and shit. But then you have her sister kind of come in. She has a alone time with her, and you kind of understand that like the sister and her have like Grace and Faith kind of have like this history. They've had a falling out, and it seems like the only reason why Faith is there is because Grace had her as like her emergency contact, I guess, and she didn't even know it, or she had forgotten that that was her emergency contact, I guess. But I feel like their bond in this movie is so well done, man, and I gotta give the directors massive props. I thought going into it, I was like, all right, they're gonna try to like force like this connection like with the lost sister or whatever, but didn't feel like that, man. By the end of the movie, like you really felt like these two were like way more closer than they had ever been before. Like I felt like damn, like that connection was so well done. It was so like well portrayed, man. Catherine Newton, she was great as Faith. I feel like I loved her performance. She was awesome. I didn't know how I felt about it at first. Like I said, I didn't watch any of the trailers, so I was kind of like wasn't expecting like I guess the sister to kind of be involved. I was also expecting the whole plot basically it's like the family that Grace killed in the first movie is basically part of this whole like family like tree, I guess. Not family tree, but they're part of this whole like cult like group, I guess. And like since that family's killed now it's like the head of the table is like up for grabs. So it's kind of like interesting to like see like it play out. And like I said, I think not watching the trailer made it so much better because I had no idea what to expect, and it was super brilliant. I thought a lot of the scenes, especially like once you get to the house and they start that hide and seek game, just a lot of the dialogue, man, was super great. It was funny, but it was also just it was serious when it needed to be serious, but like it was playful at the same time. Another thing about this movie, guys, this movie is super bloody, man. Like there's some kills in the scenes in this. There's some kills in this movie that are just super out there, dude. There's a lot of blood in this movie, so if you're somebody that's really squeamish or can't really handle violence, I'm not sure this one's meant for you. I feel like overall it is a great film, but like I've definitely seen worse movies, but like this was definitely bloody, for the most part. But it's not to necessarily say that it's bad, right? I thought that overall, like it was so well done, and I feel like that was like the best part in it. Plus, you had the mayor from The Dark Knight in this movie. I was not expecting that at all, bro. I think his name is Nestor Carbonell or something like that. As soon as I saw him, I was like, bro, that's literally the mayor from The Dark Knight, dude. That's my favorite movie ever. I was like, fuck it. There's a lot of people in this movie that were fucking great. Elijah Wood was like the little lawyer, like the whole that kind of like kept the whole families in order. I thought he was super hilarious. Sarah Michelle Gellar, man, is like this evil like sister, dude. Like she was great in this movie as well. Super like just like she just looked like super like bitchy, bro. And I feel like she portrayed it so well. Then you have Sean Hastor, I think how you say his name. I mean, you have Dr. Abbott from The Pit, bro. He was great in this movie. He got a lot of screen time, and I think again the writing was so well done. I thought his character was really well done, man. There's so many sequences where he's kind of like just has the spotlight, and he really like shines, dude. I really thought like he portrayed like his character was so like well developed, I guess. As the story kind of goes on, you kind of see like how his motivations are and stuff, and just like the whole like lore of this like being the head of all the families and like, basically have power and all this power and control over the whole world. Basically, it's like it's a really big deal, and you see how all these families like are like becoming so obsessed with it that it kind of start to like turn against each other in a way, you know. But from this point on, it's gonna be spoiler warning. So if you haven't seen Ready or Not 2, check it out and then come back to this video because I'm gonna discuss spoilers from here on out. One of the things I loved about this movie, like I said, some of the kills, man. There's a kill where they basically take this guy and they put him in like a, I don't know if it was like a dishwasher or like not like a washer machine or something like that, dude. And like that shot where the door opens, you see all that smoke coming out, and his face just pops out of nowhere with the mask. That was super well done. Also, the scene where they're kind of like in that dinner hall and like they fucking shoot the guy by accident. Like that was another like crazy scene, right? Like there's so many scenes in this movie that are so well done. And you know, like I said, I feel like for the most part, you know, I feel like the ending was definitely trippy, you know, because it got to a point where like I did not know what's gonna happen. Like you kind of see how Grace is kind of like just gonna end up marrying like fucking Titus, right? It's like, what the fuck, dude? Like how can that happen, dude? Like the whole time as like they're getting ready for the wedding and all this shit, I'm like, no, like please do not let this fucking happen. I really thought like Grace is gonna sell her soul for this shit. That would be like some dark ass ending, like some fucked up ass ending. But once she fucking takes a pen, stabs him in the neck, dude, I was like, wow, dude, like that was so awesome, man. I really thought like I guess this is what I love what the director did. I thought the tension in that moment was so well done, and just like the suspense and just everything, man. I sound like I'm glazing this movie, but you know, honestly, I am, guys. At this point, you know, Ready or Not 2 is truly just an amazing film. Like I said, it had great dialogue, the acting was fucking great, and just overall, like it's something that like I enjoyed. You know, I went into this expecting like a decent movie. I was like, you know what, like sequels, you know, they're hit or miss. We'll see. I thought this one is definitely as good as the first one. I want to see the first one again now because I feel like I need to see it again. But definitely like this movie, man, like it was super well done. Again, Radio Silence, dude, like they really don't miss with a lot of these. You know, they did Scream 5 and 6 were some of my favorite Scream movies, but overall, like I said, you know, Samantha Weaving is surely like amazing in this role. And I wonder, like, I feel like honestly, like I don't think they can do a part 3 after this. I think this is it. And honestly, if it's it, like it's awesome, man. That's a great way to end it off. I don't see them doing like a part 3 unless like I guess in a way like unless they're like to like have other families across the world and shit. But I doubt. Basically the way the movie ends is basically like they basically kill everybody that's involved in this fucking cult. They kind of drop down that pit trying to put the ring on, and then the time runs out and everybody just blows up. Like, so it's kind of like, you know what, like I don't really think they can do anything more for that, but if they somehow can, and if it's good as this, then you know what, I'm all for it, guys. You know, Ready or Not 2, I'm gonna give Ready or Not 2 an 87%. That's a great score. That's a high score for me. You know, I feel like, again, like the dialogue is so great. You know, just the comedy, man. Just like I said earlier, you know, the Grace and Faith's like connection and just bond. You kind of see him like have so many arguments throughout the movie, right? And there's so many moments where like they just like kind of talk shit to each other like nonstop, but eventually kind of like you know, settle their differences and they're able to come together. And I feel like that's just such a great story. And there were so many great funny moments from this movie. You know, definitely that scene where that girl has like the rocket launcher and it shoots backwards instead of forwards. That was super hilarious. Like there's so many like moments like that just are so funny, dude. But like I said, guys, you know, Ready or Not 2, I highly recommend it. It just came out a couple of days ago. Check it out. You know, if you're a fan of horror, even if you're not a fan of horror, this is definitely not like a super scary movie. It has horror elements, but for the most part, like this is a fun watch. You know, if you want something that's like an action, you know, thriller, comedy, you know, suspense, horror elements also as well, I highly recommend this movie. You know, we're talking about a movie that was so well directed, it was so well done. And like I said, if you somehow have not seen the first Ready or Not, definitely watch Down before this one. It'll make it a lot better. But other than that, guys, that's all I have to pretty much say. It's a quick little review, you know. And yeah, you know, Ready or Not 2 is fucking peak, guys. But other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.